John Basilone was one of the most famous U.S. Marine Corps soldiers of the Second World War, a figure who became a legend not only because of his bravery, but because of his unusual path, his personality, and his tragic fate. Many people know the Pacific War as a strategic conflict between fleets and nations, but the story of John Basilone shows what war looked like on the human level: raw, chaotic, personal, and often more brutal than any history book can describe. Basilone was born in 1916 in Buffalo, New York, the son of Italian immigrants. He grew up in modest circumstances, worked hard, loved boxing, and searched for adventure early in his life. Even before America entered the war, he served in the U.S. Army. He returned to civilian life, but he quickly realized he was not a man for routine. In 1940, he enlisted in the Marine Corps. When the United States entered the war in 1941, his path to becoming a national symbol began. His name became immortal because of one single battle, Guadalcanal. In 1942, the United States tried to stop Japanese expansion in the Pacific. The fighting on Guadalcanal was merciless: mud, heat, disease, nights full of fear, nights where you didn't know if the next attack would be survivable. In this hell, Basilone commanded a heavy machine gun section. In one of the decisive nights, Japanese forces attacked in massive waves, thousands of soldiers against only a few hundred Marines. John Basilone held the line for hours. Despite running low on ammunition, despite destroyed gun positions, despite total chaos, he carried ammunition under fire, manned his own machine guns, repaired them while fighting, coordinated his men, and prevented Japanese breakthroughs. His crew was almost completely wiped out, but he didn't give up. His actions stopped an assault that otherwise would have broken the entire American defensive line. This moment became decisive for Guadalcanal and earned Basilone the highest American military decoration, the Medal of Honor. Back in the United States, he became a national hero. Newspapers, war bond tours, interviews. Americans celebrated him like a movie star. But Basilone was not a man for stages and spotlights. He asked not to be kept at home as a symbol. He wanted to return to the front. "I want to be back with my boys," he reportedly said. He was one of the very few Medal of Honor recipients who volunteered to go back into frontline combat, not for glory, but for loyalty. In 1945, he landed with the Marines on Iwo Jima, one of the bloodiest battles of the entire war. Black volcanic sand, hidden bunkers, artillery from invisible caves. Shortly after landing, Basilone again led an attack, destroyed a Japanese machine gun nest, helped a pinned-down tank move forward, and organized his unit under fire. Seconds later, he was hit by shrapnel. He died on the first day of the battle. John Basilone was only 28 years old. After his death, he received the Navy Cross, the second highest decoration of the Marine Corps. He remains the only U.S. Marine of World War II who received both the Medal of Honor and the Navy Cross in the Pacific War. His life shows how complex war heroes really are. Not superhumans, but young men who under extreme conditions had to do things beyond imagination. For the survivors of the battle, Basilone was not a myth, he was a comrade, a human being of flesh and blood who knew fear but stood his ground anyway. Today his name is remembered in schools, streets, and veteran memorials. Marines still recruit with his picture. And yet his story is not just American propaganda, it is an example of what war does to human lives, how loyalty and duty can create both heroism and tragedy. Basilone never wanted to be immortal, but the war made him exactly that. His story shows that the Pacific War was more than maps, strategies, aircraft carriers, and numbers. It was a conflict written through individual human destinies, and John Basilone is one of the most striking chapters of that book. To this day, he stands as a symbol of how thin the line is between courage and desperation, and how a single man can influence the outcome of a battle.